went viral on social media. He faces charges of assault with the intention to do grievous bodily harm and contravening the Older Persons Act. The state alleges that the suspect's grandmother, who is 82 years old, is currently in hospital and opposes his release because she fears for her life. The suspect has been remanded to the hospital section of the Portsmouth until the 12th of July, after the court was told that he is suicidal. Lastly, the outgoing Conservative British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has left Downing Street for the final time after the Labour Party's landslide victory in the general election. Sunak confirmed that he will resign as Conservative leader only when arrangements are in place to choose his successor. He was addressing the nation outside 10 Downing Street as part of a transfer of power that will see Keir Starmer become the country's new Prime Minister.
To the country, I would like to say first and foremost, I am sorry. I have given this job my all, but you have sent a clear signal that the government of the United Kingdom must change, and yours is the only judgment that matters. I have heard your anger, your disappointment, and I take responsibility for this loss.
Recapping the top story this hour, the South African Weather Service has issued more warnings of inclement weather across the Western Cape for the next few days. Headlines at 1:30 for SAFM News. I'm Dino Mutaung.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide, leading the conversation. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Say It is DJ Zinhle featuring Loyiso with this one on Indlovu. She's celebrating 20 years of being in the music industry. You know, she's been at the forefront of pioneering female DJs and, of course, opening up the space for other generations of female DJs in the context of South Africa to follow in her footsteps. DJ Zinhle is she's just phenomenal. And she's gone on to obviously extend her DJ brand and profile to then incorporate the business element of herself and launched Era, which sees her producing jewelry, and then went off into Her Majesty, getting into the hair and beauty space. And just about 2 weeks ago, she was officially announced as the South African ambassador for Avon Cosmetics. So 20 years in the game and still rising with each year, of course, now doubled down with experience. It's just gone 10 past 1 o'clock and it's a beautiful but cold day in Johannesburg. It's almost as though the weather is it's paying revenge. It's Kokeli revenge to say, you guys thought it was not winter. Let me show y'all a thing or two. So it's deceptive because it's sunny and gorgeous when you look out the window, and then when you step outside, it's bitterly cold. But we will do the very best that we can for this weekend in terms of just staying warm within the elements. And I think this kind of weather is being experienced countrywide. I don't know. I stand to be corrected. Let me know how the weather is in your side of the country. We've got lots of show coming our way. It is a Friday, of course, as you know. Fridays are for fun, fabulous conversations with friends of the show. We take very much a hard focus on arts and culture, and today is no different. We start off the conversation, though, by catching up with the folks at SA Harvest. They're launching what they call #Buckets of Nutrition, and this is in honor of the great statesman Nelson Mandela for Mandela Day. We'll find out more about that. Stages, pages, screens, and more. We're in conversation with comedian Katlego Tulare for that one. Staging the first one-man show, a live what is what it's been billed. And then, of course, this is a conversation I'm so keen on. South African filmmaker has announced a beautiful partnership with Dark Horse Comics, and they are launching what is called Imbogoto. In fact, it's already launched. Imbogoto. It's a thrilling Afro-futuristic comic series. I can't wait to find out more about this from Thabo Rametsi, who'll be on the show later on in the hour. And then on the other side of 2 o'clock, for full access today, we are catching up with musician, storyteller, healer, and philanthropist Ubuhle Bendalo is going to be in studio for that conversation. Let's take a quick pause. We'll be right back.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
Alrighty, getting into our first conversation with Marolit Williams, and Marolit is with the partnerships and procurement manager of SA Harvest, and SA Harvest is launching this month what they are calling #Buckets of Nutrition during Mandela Month, and urging South Africans to combat hunger by packing essential food buckets for families in need across Johannesburg, Durban and Cape Town. A very important initiative, this, of course, considering the fact that we also know Statistics South Africa reports that nearly 20% of households lack adequate food access. Good afternoon to you, Marolit. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having SA Harvest on your show. We really appreciate it, and for helping us spread the word about buckets of nutrition. And by the way, it's a sunny Cape Town today. Just wanted to tell you.
Y'all have been enjoying good weather this winter. Thank you for the update. Let's talk about it. #Buckets of Nutrition. A very important, it's not just a challenge, this. It's a great conscientizing initiative, I think.
Yes, this is our first year that we will be doing this, and we're doing it every year from during Mandela Month. We will be continuing doing it every year. And what it is we are urging the public, corporates, businesses, Business South Africa, schools, churches, anybody that would be able to pack a bucket and bring it to our drop-off zones. And how they would have to go about it is they would go onto www.saharvest.org. That's our website, and they'll be going to our homepage, and the homepage will give them an option to either pack their own bucket or either donate money, and we will arrange with volunteers to pack the buckets, or they can volunteer. And when they pack the buckets, we have partnered with Macro, and Macro have allowed people to go onto their website and they can buy everything, and then they will drop the bucket and the product at the person who has purchased it. So that's how you go about it, and the information is incredibly clear on our website. What needs to go in, and we would love people to support us, and we'd be forever grateful if they did.
Yeah. Let's talk about, and I love the easy mechanics and the options, as you've mentioned, that you can either volunteer your time and participate and pack buckets, or you can donate funds. Some people prefer to donate, or you can just go onto Macro and buy the respective items, and then Macro will handle the delivery on your behalf. Let's talk about the items that are in the bucket quickly, Margalit. What kind of items are in these buckets of nutrition?
Okay, so it's starch. It's so we got like pilchards. We've got soup packets. We've got peanut butter. We've got soaps for cleaning, and we've got noodles, soup, and all kinds of things that a family can use for. It depends on the size of the family. Obviously, we will be giving buckets to the size of the families. And so it's a very nutritious sort of bundle of products that every bucket will be the same. And anybody that does donate, like if a corporate donates more than 50 buckets, then we will send our driver to go and collect the buckets, and then they will be handed out. And there are 3 places in the country where you can deliver your bucket once you've packed it, and it is in Melrose Arch in Johannesburg. There will be a bin for them to drop off the bucket, and there will be one in Waterfront in the Cape, and Pavilion Shopping Centre in KZN. And when they drop the bucket, there will be a QR code in the bin, on the bin, and they just scan the QR code, and then we know that they have delivered a bucket, and our warehouse will know exactly how many buckets have been and who has delivered buckets.
I see. And the cool thing about this campaign also is, yes, it's addressing immediate hunger and providing sustenance, but it also realizes that needs to last longer and beyond Mandela Day, because the items in the bucket have been set out to at least carry a family for at least 2 to 3 weeks.
Yes, that is correct. And with this campaign or initiative, we are doing it for Mandela Month. So even after Mandela Day, buckets can still be packed and delivered to the 3 shopping centres, and also at Macro there will be a bin. So if someone's shopping there, they can fill their bin and just leave it at a Macro. There will be a bin to deliver as well.
Lovely. Margalit Williams, thank you so much for the time. And she's with Partnerships and Procurement Manager of SA Harvest. As you heard, the logistics around it are quite simple. Go out and make the change for hashtag buckets of nutrition. And this is a call by SA Harvest to address the immediate hunger needs of some communities and families in South Africa. And it's as simple as you going out into a Macro who they've partnered up with and made it easy for you logistically, where you can just fill your buckets at Macro with the respective items and then leave it at Macro, and Macro will then handle getting them to SA Harvest, who will ultimately deliver them. Or, of course, you can deliver them at the 3 various shopping malls between Johannesburg, Durban and Cape Town. And www.saharvest.org is where you can go for ease of reference. It's just gone 20 past 1 o'clock.
What is Ushuni, you say? Ushuni has a musical gift and can transform a song. Ushuni can fuse folk music with a popular urban beat or tune. Ushuni can take us on a beautiful musical journey. Ushuni way to Gelo. Join us in unearthing South Africa's next folk music star.
40 talented contestants from around South Africa competing for the ultimate grand prize of 500,000 Rand cash and a recording deal. Angeke basikhone with Ushuni Womhlaba, starting 7 July, Sundays at 6 p.m. only on SABC 1.
Congratulations to Tuesday's Powerball Plus jackpot winner who won over 12 million Rand after playing through a retailer in Midrand, Gauteng. Play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 50 million Rand in total estimated jackpots this Friday, and you could be next. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old to play responsibly. E2 is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
It can never be freezing cold with SABC Sport on board this July.
The 12 Nations battle in the Hollywood Bets Kasapa Cup will reveal the ultimate Southern African champs.
Mzansi's Queens of the Beautiful Game display real passion in the Hollywood Bets Super League.
The Germans are in town as Vivian Wiesbaden tackles the Citizens and Stellies, while FC Augsburg clashes with TS Galaxy FC.
While Sport at 10 gives you a solid reason to stay awake on Wednesday nights.
TKO brings you in-depth analysis in the boxing world.
Top sport journalists table-spoiling conversations on the Jonas Vodcast. Meanwhile, Foot Afrique zooms into continental football.
Countdown to Paris goes downhill towards the Olympic Games Paris 2024, kicking off on 26 July.
NBA Lifestyle, Youth Sport Show, Goats Like Us, Final Analysis, EFC 115, and many more. Happy Madiba Month.
Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Stages, pages, screens, and more on The Full Circle.
Lots of moving parts in this first hour of the show, and we joined in studio by a comedian, Katlego Tulare, who joins me now, who is also a brand enthusiast and has got quite a number of years in the advertising space, holding various positions. But now, though, embarking on a one-man show. How are you?
Well, I'm well good, and you?
I'm fabulous.
Super.
Listen, thank you for coming through, and thank you for the gift. This is your first book?
Yes, called Welcome to South Africa, Your Master Book.
Your Master Book.
Your Master Book. Yeah. So I definitely had to give it that title that makes you think, like, what's this book about? You know? But you already get the energy.
You do.
Yeah.
And I appreciate a well-branded, well-presented gift.
Yes.
A lot of thought has been put into that.
Yeah,
I was saying to you off air that that's the advertising hat coming out.
Yes, you know, because I'm a brand guy, you know, I can't do what I do for big brands, what I don't do for myself, you know. So I was just like, you know, apply that same mentality and hat and just package it in a way that your mom can put on a room divider with pride, you know.
On a whole room divider.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about the book quickly, and then we'll get into the comedy. South Africa, Your Master Book.
Welcome to South Africa, Your Master Book is obviously a story about myself, right? I was born in the rural.
Yeah. Which rural?
In Marapiane. I was born in a clinic somewhere to teenage parents in Marapiane.
Okay.
They were very naughty, right? So they had me, you know, but at least they gave me a nice name, you know, because they were born in the 70s. So they gave me a nice name like Katlego. They didn't give me like a Johannes, you know, Bartholomew, you know what I mean? Those names that were trending back in the day. So I grew up, obviously, I was born in the rurals, bred Eka Sinyana, and also lived in the sweet suburbs, you know. So right now I've got dogs that are vaccinated. You know, they got birth certificate. They don't have baby mamas, that kind of stuff, you know. So that's kind of the vibe, but like that, you know, details like my story from, you know, being born in the rural and making it to the sweet suburbs these days.
Literally living the dualities. You know, once you've got a dog that's hypoglycemic.
What?
That,
you know?
that you've got a suburban dog through and through.
Right, yeah. No, my dogs, you know, they don't have names like Bobby and Spoots, you know. It's like, you know, Chapo and Luna, you know. They go for walks, you know.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so then you come out of this advertising space. Are you still in advertising?
I am still I'm still a copywriter.
Yeah, and enjoying that.
Love it. You know, creating concepts and, you know, fun ideas. I love it. You know?
And then COVID hits.
Hey.
And what happened? Because you say, you know, you overcame the odds of COVID.
Yeah, you know, so COVID, I hit rock bottom, right? So at the time I was freelancing a lot. So now you imagine you sending invoices, you're getting blue ticked. Everybody everybody's telling you, ish, my guy, we'll get back to you. You know, 21 days becomes a couple months, becomes a couple years, you know, of lockdown.
Yeah.
So one day I find myself going with my son to my friends because it was load shedding, and we go to my friend's plaza, and I'm going to buy him ghost loads because I don't have anything to give him, just to Bambisa until the electricity can come back, you know. And then when we get there, there's a young girl, a teenage girl who's buying a loose Pampers as well. And I'm like, yo, it's going down right now because I'm here to buy a ghost load for my kid. She's here to buy loose Pampers and whatnot. And I'm like, man, you know what? I need to do something to turn my life around. So I started writing these stories on LinkedIn, you know, and they got popular. And all of a sudden, people started telling me, look, if you take those stories and put them in a book, we'll buy it. And then I self-published the book, and my life's changed since then.
Is that how the book came about?
That's how the book came about, you know. So it was quite organic in that sense, you know. And now, obviously, people have been saying, okay, dude, we bought your book. I launched it in 2022. Sold out my first print run, working my way through the second one. So obviously now you can't write books like you're writing in your lyric book, you know, like every year you can't write a book, you know. So I was like, you know what? Let me add a little bit extra elements, you know. So I'm adding the live show elements because I realized that, you know, and like, you know, there's something yana here, you know. I'm not just a light skinned guy.
Have you done stand-up comedy before?
Yeah, so you know how I realized that I was actually, you know, maybe destined for that side. So from the book, I actually got a lot of speaking engagements to tell my story. Like, how did you overcome COVID challenges and actually building a personal brand and monetizing your social media and that kind of stuff. So whenever I'd go for these keynote talks, I realized that people found the stories quite hilarious, you know, and I'm there to share, like, I mean, my heart and everything. People are like laughing. I'm like, you know what? Maybe let me give this a try, you know. That's why I even called it a live what, just in case I'm not funny, you know. So it's just like, what is this? We went to this other what with this light-skinned guy who was busy talking for like an hour. I don't know if he was funny or what, you know.
Listen, you don't have to be a comedian, right? You can just be a really great storyteller with a funny bone,
right?
And there's plenty of people who've done that. I mean, Wendy Williams at some point did an entire tour, a Vegas residency based on exactly that.
Yeah, so maybe that's the gap, you know. Just in case if I'm not funny all the time, then at least I'm just a great storyteller. You know?
There we go.
It just happens to be funny.
I'm giving you something.
Yeah.
So live what is happening on the 7th, which is
this Sunday. Yes.
Give us the details.
So I'm obviously going to be taking people down a trip down memory lane, you know, just to actually share my experience. So right now I've actually started a movement called the Light Lives Matter movement. I've dubbed myself the president of the light-skinned community because I feel like we as light-skinned guys have been set aback. Like growing up, every time I'd meet like my female friends and their moms, they'd always call me Mkwenyana, right? Yeah. Now that I'm grown up, all the girls, they want tall, dark, and handsome. I'm not tall, I'm not dark, but at least according to NG Muteka's standards, I pass nyana with the handsome nyana, you know? So at least I still got a pass mark in that sense. But I was like, you know what? Let me come and share, you know, my struggles from a light-skin vibe. Because even at family functions, you know, they always get your dark-skin because they say, no, they're going to go slaughter because they look like the real tough guys, right? Yeah. And as a light-skin guy, they're sending me to buy the extra butternuts and Raja if it's missing, those kind of things. So I'm like, you know what? I need to fight for the rights of light-skinned guys. So my aim, you know, with this show is actually to bring light-skinned guys back in fashion, you know. We're coming back in fashion like in the 90s. Yeah.
Oh, I can't. You can catch Katlego Tulare, of course, this Sunday, 7th July. Katlego, before I run out of time, venue, where are we?
At the theatre on the square, Nelson Mandela Square in Sandton. Yeah.
Okay.
So giving you that Sandton life, Mara's gonna be ghetto, very ghetto, you know, inside Sandton, at the mall,
I can't with them. Katlego Tulare is okay. So this Sunday, theatre on the square in Sandton for the live what.
Yes.
And ticket bookings.
You can go to welcometosouthafrica.co.za, and even if you just search Katlego Tulare live what on Google, it'll pop up first results. You know, tickets are $200 to see you there.
This is when all your worlds converge into one. The fact that he's got his own online portal, where he's selling his own tickets, and you can get everything for this Sunday show, 7th July. Welcome to sa.co.za is where you go. And of course, if you're going to be in Johannesburg, Theatre on the Square is the venue. The book is also out. Welcome to South Africa, your master book. It makes a pretty present. It's well presented. It's just gone 1:30. It's time for us to catch up with the headline news.
With the headlines at 1:30, I am Dino Motaung. Good afternoon. Gauteng ANC Youth League has expressed disappointment in the ANC's decision not to include young people in the province's executive. In other news, the South African Weather Service has issued more warnings of inclement weather across the Western Cape for the next few days. And India's main opposition leader, Rahul Gandhi, has urged the authorities to offer more financial help to those who lost their relatives in a deadly stampede earlier this week. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Stages, pages, screens, and more on The Full Circle.
He is so funny. I can't. And you know the thing, Katleho, I don't even know if it's a light skin. They send him to buy the butternuts because he's a light skinned guy, or he light skinned and short. You see, so now the combination of all of it puts him at a disadvantage from his tall, dark, and handsome cousins. But let's stay on this focus and let's get into our next conversation. And for stages, pages, screens, and more, South African filmmaker has been announced as a winner at the prestigious Sony Future Filmmaker Awards 2024. And we are chatting to Rahim Rasak, who is an AFDA student who was announced as one of the 6 winners at the Sony Future Filmmakers Awards that were hosted in LA recently. How are you doing, Rahim?
I'm good, and you? Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for taking the time. Listen, I mean, this sounds incredible. So you're an AFDA student currently, from what I understand, and here you are already making waves internationally as one of the 6 winners of the Sony Future Filmmakers Awards. Tell us how this award came about.
Firstly, I'm no longer a student. I just graduated.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. And I graduated in April, March, I can't remember now. And then I got an email saying that we would like you to come to LA. And I showed my mom, and she said, "Are you sure it's not human trafficking?" That sort of thing. And I couldn't believe it because my crew and I worked so hard, and we didn't think the film would go anywhere. We just wanted, to finish and hopefully get jobs and that. And then, went to LA. Didn't think I was going to win at all. Was just very happy that someone in the international field like Sony actually saw my movie, my crew's movie, and appreciated it and thought that we had a chance. And while I was there, I didn't think we were going to win at all. The other films, I still do think they're much better. And surprisingly, we won, and I still can't believe it. I think maybe it's all a dream. I'm going to wake up very soon, but yeah.
Listen, Rahim, it's definitely your reality, and please, don't let imposter syndrome settle in. As good as the other films were, yours rose up the cream amongst the crop, clearly. So the film Anguish, was this a film that you had done in your final year of AFDA? And tell us a bit about the story. So it was done as part of our graduation film, and basically it involves around a zombie landscape. It has to take place in Johannesburg, South Africa, and it's quite unique because it's about a young man, similar to my age, tending to his zombified mother. And there's a kind of a unique twist, so we put a South African flavor to it, and maybe I shouldn't give it away. Maybe the listeners should watch it. But there's a very unique twist that highlights one of the key problems in South Africa of drug abuse. But it's quite unique. For me personally, I've never seen a zombie movie in the context of South Africa. Yeah,
so that's what we try to apply sort of a Hollywood-esque style and mix it with a bit of South African flavor, South African filmmaking practices as well, but also honing down to, the Hollywood-esque, style and grandeur and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Is this a genre of storytelling that you sort of keen to explore the more you delve into filmmaking?
Not necessarily, because it is more horror thriller, but I always enjoy a movie or when you walk out of a movie theater and you have to really think about it. I think when movies leave an impression on you, then you know that it's done the job. So I think that was the intention. I think even moving on, like future projects, is that movies need to make you think and that sort of thing. And when I was in the US, and we had many workshops with a lot of Sony executives, particularly like Dylan Lehner, one of the VPs at Sony Pictures. He said that one of the unique things that we need to think about is that we've got to be subtle in our subtext, and when we do that, viewers really get hooked. So we can't just be point blank about our messages. So.
Very interesting. And then tell me, as a young filmmaker, who's just recently graduated, and of course you win this great acknowledgement from Sony Future Filmmaker Awards. Does this then sort of broaden, and I don't know where your thinking was whilst you were studying, but does this then broaden your lens in as far as how far and how wide you are able to tell your stories? Are you looking at perhaps already cementing and building a stronger voice internationally and not just confined within South Africa?
That's a good question. So when I was in LA, firstly, before going, while I was studying, the dream was always to make it. Every filmmaker has a dream to win an Oscar and one day, be in Hollywood. While I was in the US and talking to a lot of, and these aren't people that, at the bottom of the barrel. These are very, very top executives that, to the point where when you even sit with them at the workshops, you're told you're not allowed to take pictures of them. It's very secretive, etc. And they sat down with me because I told them about what's happening in South Africa and the hope we have, etc. And they said, no movies in the future aren't going to be shot in the US, and that new ideas for the first time in 30 years are coming outside the US. And one of the advice I got from one of the executives was go back to South Africa and make a movie that touches on the culture and the context of South Africa, because that is what the international audience is looking. But also note that Hollywood fame or Hollywood's empire isn't as strong as before, and that coming back home you can really build yourself and make things happen, and we really can. We're immensely hardworking here in South Africa, and even a company like Sony, seeing that on the Sony lot, a lot of them were empty, and a lot of their productions are being shot outside of the US, and particularly they're looking at other countries because they're noticing that it's the developing world that are bringing the new ideas, new narratives.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think South Africa film industry has a lot of space to grow. Sony can help with that, and hopefully internationally as well. That is my sight, but also looking at the moment, local is still good. Local has a brighter future, I think, in the long run. But yeah.
It definitely sounds as if you've got your foot on the handle, and your outlook is rooted at home but with a global perspective, and that's always a good way to start. Congratulations once again on this incredible accolade. So young, straight out of the gates of graduating from AVDA, and his film Anguish has already secured him recognition by Sony in the 2024 Sony Future Filmmakers Awards. That was of course, a filmmaker, Rahim Rasak. That is how we wrap on this conversation. It's 22 at 2 o'clock as we prepare to move on the other side of the break and come through.
Is overweight or obese? Sign a petition to demand strong warning labels on unhealthy packaged food. And don't forget to catch the next episode of Chew on This at healer.org on Thursday, 27 June from 3 p.m. Young people tell us how big food companies are feeding them lies.
11 Southern African football outfits and a guest nation from the East, Kenya, are summoned to the battlefield for the 23rd edition of the Hollywood Bets COSAFA Cup 2024. 12 nations are on a dramatic search for the ultimate regional glory in Gqeberha, Mzansi's Eastern Cape Province. Experience the COSAFA Cup action from 26 June to 7 July. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4, SABC 1 and SABC radio stations. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag We Love It Here. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The inaugural Standard Bank Business and Commercial Banking Conference is going to take place from the 10th until the 12th of July 2024 in Cape Town under the theme Africa Unlocked, Unlocking Africa's Growth. And of course, you can tune in to us on The Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, and The National Pulse with Ashraf Gada to get insights from the conference.
You're listening to Bridget Masinga on SAFM. Stages, pages, screens, and more on The Full Circle.
We are keeping the show on the road this afternoon, catching up now with Nguniverse Studios co-founder, South African actor, director, and producer Thabo Rametsi is joining us now. This is a thrilling Afrofuturistic comic series, and it's set to debut later on in the year. It is exciting because it also speaks to an international partnership. How are you doing?
Hi, Bridget. I'm doing very well. And hi to the audience. Thank you for that intro. That was beautiful.
Thank you for taking the time. I saw you guys on one of the 24-hour news channels, I think about 2 weeks ago, and I was so excited because you know, the world of illustrated books, when we want to be hoity-toity, illustrated books or comic books, is really a big world. It seems like a niche space, but it's a big world with big audiences, big following. And it's only now that I'm seeing in the last 10 years or so, South Africans starting to infiltrate it in impactful and significant ways. What is it about this space for you as an actor, producer, director that appeals to you?
Oh, I mean, that's such a great question. I think what's key to what you've seen around the world is you've seen people take their own stories, fantasize them, and commercialize them, right? So whether it's be Hansel and Gretel or the Three Blind Mice or the story of Cinderella, which then will go on to be taken by the likes of Disney, be made to TV shows, series, and the people get to benefit from those stories. We want to do the same. So, and it increases the tourism to our country. The more they know about Mujaji and Nandi or Nahanda from Zimbabwe, the more they want to come visit. So there's a very defined economic value in us taking our stories and canonizing them. And it benefits a lot of people. So that's what we're hoping we're doing with this beautiful comic book.
Let's talk about exactly what you allude to, the kind of story and the kind of angle that Nguniverse Studios is taking with this project.
I mean, Nguniverse Studios has a very simple ethos. We want to tell stories that don't paint black people in a depravative manner, you know, so basically no poverty porn, no black torture porn. We want the young black South African, or just the young South Africans, to be able to think of themselves as astronauts. We have a space agency in this country. Imagine if someone sees a movie of us going to the moon, that might inspire another young child, another Elon Musk to do something. So that's the ethos. Within the comic book itself, we've based the superheroes on real life warrior queens from across the continent. I had mentioned Nahanda from Zimbabwe. I mentioned Nandi from KwaZulu, Mujaji from the Balubedu, Amina from Nigeria, and Zinga from Angola. Now they all live in one world, and they go out on a mission to go save these young girls who've been kidnapped, almost in a Boko Haram style. So we're looking at contemporary African issues that are solved by our iconic African heroes in a mythical way. So we make doing the right thing a cool thing, a justifiable thing for the youth.
And the other element about this is you guys have approached this quite interestingly from a business perspective, which lends another layer of intrigue for people, because Nguniverse has also partnered up with Dark Horse. Illuminate for folks who aren't familiar as to who Dark Horse comics are and the significance of this partnership.
Oh, yes. We're very excited about this partner. So for context, in the world of this kind of storytelling, the kings are Marvel, DC, and the third king is Dark Horse. And why Dark Horse and why we went with them? So we had pitched to all these different comic book houses. They all wanted the idea, but Dark Horse was unique with one thing. They let us retain our IP, our intellectual property.
Yeah.
So we own the story. We keep it. We'll never go broke. And that's why Dark Horse is so interesting. Dark Horse have done things like Umbrella Academy. They own the rights to Game of Thrones. So they specialize in taking comic books and turning them to TV series and etc. Our deal is unique in that not only is it a comic book deal, the comic book is simply the first stage of securing the IP.
Yeah.
The rest is then to say we're already in talks to do a television series. We've already attached an Oscar-winning actor, which we can't reveal now, to the show already. And then there's going to be a manga, animation. We're going to be doing so many cool things. There's lots of merchandising. And people underestimate the merchandising. You can go from something from 600 Rand to 30,000 Rand to 250,000 Rand for one piece of merchandising, and they sell out all the time, even here locally.
Yeah. And I mean, I know that, Thabo, you say you obviously can't divulge all the finer details right now because all things are unpacking in stages. But even, and I recall, it was an interesting piece of advice that was given to you and your business partner on this venture by this Hollywood star who's now essentially your producing partner as well, as to how you go about securing this IP for yourselves also, but maximizing. Give nuggets to kids. The other day that we had some folks on here who want to get into the space, but they only want to get in the space from the creative perspective of, I want to write and illustrate. Here you are saying it's a 360 business, and depending on how you structure it at the beginning, will let's sort of lay the groundwork for how far you can take it with your ownership and involvement.
So I think an important thing, and that's for anybody with a great idea, regardless of whether it's in the art space or not, write down your idea. You don't need an attorney or anything like that. Write down it and then officially publish it in some form or manner, or register it as a copyright. That's the most important thing you could ever do for yourself. Because all of a sudden you own the idea, and even if you pass on, you can pass the idea on to your children and your children. That essentially becomes your legacy. It becomes a patent that is owned. So I think that's the key thing. If you're anybody at home, whatever idea you have, write it down and find ways of securing it, whether it's through the trademarks system or in a publishing manner. If it's an article, you can publish it. So it'll always be related to, my name is Spongile Kumalo, for example, and I wrote this fantastic story that will later on be called something like The Wife or whatever it is, right? But I published it on like Facebook. I'll always own that IP. It will belong to me,
Yeah.
So it's starting on that phase, but also do not give away the ownership of your ideas. In the same way, if you have a spaza shop, don't give it away. Don't keep that. Even if it's not giving you money now, the returns on the longer term are much bigger.
Absolutely.
And that's another key thing is they didn't give us a lot of money up front because our back end was so profitable. We get a lot more money once the project does well. So try to keep that,
Absolutely. Loving it. And of course, as you hear from Thabo Rametsi, the sort of comic book series was the strategic move to secure and safeguard that IP for them and expanding from it what seems to be just an incredible movement that lies ahead. For folks who want to now get their hands on Imbokodo, I know that it is launching only in October, but it's already open for pre-orders. I'm correct?
Yes, you are. And we actually sold them out yesterday. We had to reissue more. They're selling like hotcakes. And it works like stock. So the first ones that you buy, so you can pre-order them now. We'll sign. If you buy two, we'll sign the second copy. You put that away in the safe somewhere, its value will grow. But if you want to get them, you can go to our Instagram page, which is Nguniverse Studios. And there's a link right there that will take you right there. Or you can simply Google Imbokodo Comic, and you'll see links will take you there to be able to buy it, whether it's on Dark Horse directly or Smallville Comics. or any comic book shop that you can think of in the country should have an ability to be able to order it. You can go to any bookshop, anyone, and say, can I get the Imbokodo comic? Even if they don't have it, they'll find pre-order because there's a demand for it.
Absolutely. Well, listen, congratulations on this one. And we thank you for taking the time. That was a co-founder of Nguniverse, Thabo Rametsi. You know him very well as a South African actor, director, and of course a producer. And he's partnered up on this particular project with Thabiso Mabane. Together, they bring you this incredible offering under the banner of Nguniverse Studios, Imbokodo, the comic book series. It's opening, it's debuting in October, but it's already open for pre-orders if you want to get your hands on a copy. And as you heard, they've got some great plans there with their partners at Dark Horse, who are amongst the top 3 big comic book producers and distributors globally. So it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. Very exciting times for creatives in South Africa, and they're really out there just being innovative, pushing the boundaries and claiming their space in international markets and amongst international audiences. It's just gone 10 to 2 o'clock. It's time for us to get into Nalibali, and then we'll come back after the 2 o'clock news.
Hello friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of Nalibali. When you're young, the world is a magical place, and as we all continue to grow and we learn more, it can less become magical. As fast as everything in our lives move, it can sometimes be nice to stop, take a moment to reflect, and then make a wish. Let's listen to today's story called Sonke's Wish, written by Bubele Reche. But before we listen to today's story, let's all get up and
dance!
Sonke wanted for her birthday was a video game. All her friends had one, and they always talked about all the cool video games that they played on weekends. She had asked her mother for a video game as a birthday present, and her mom had agreed to buy one for Sonke. On the day before her birthday, Sonke's mother promised to take her to the shops to buy the video game. Sonke was very excited.
I'll finally get a brand new video game. I can't wait to tell my friends at school.
Sonke woke up that Saturday morning singing and dancing. She took a taxi to the store with her mother. When they arrived at the store, Sonke's heart was beating fast with excitement.
The video game's this way, Mom. Hurry!
Whoa, slow down, Sonke.
Her mother said. As Sonke ran to the video game aisle, Sonke picked up the video game box and showed it to her mother.
Here it is, Mom. This is the video game I want.
The video game was inside a big box. It came with 2 joy pads and 2 games. One was a racing game and the other was a football game. But when Sonke's mom saw the price on the video game, she became very sad.
I'm so sorry, Sonke, but the video game is too expensive,
said her mom with sadness in her eyes.
Maybe we can try saving for it and buy it next year.
Sonke tried not to show how disappointed she was. Sonke was so sad that she did not go out to play with her friends the whole weekend. She didn't even enjoy her birthday the next day, or the special birthday cake her mom had baked for her. All she wanted was a video game. Sonke took a train to school on Monday like she always did. She was still sad, even though she understood that her mother would have bought the video game for her if she could afford it. When the train stopped at a station, the old lady who had been sitting next to Sonke got off the train. Sonke noticed that the old lady had left her bag on the seat. She ran to the train door and called after the woman. The train doors closed, and it started to move away from the station. Sonke returned to her seat and searched through the old lady's bag to find the address and contact details. Imagine Sonke's surprise when she opened the old lady's purse to find a lot of money in it. It was the most money Sonke had ever seen. She immediately thought about the video game.
What should I do? I could go to the shop now and buy the video game. It would be so easy. Then I wouldn't have to wait a full year just to get one. I could have it right now.
The thought of the money in the purse bothered Sonke all day. Finally, she decided to do the right thing and return the bag to the old lady after school. Sonke found the old lady's home fairly easy and knocked on the door. The old lady from the train that morning answered her knock with a warm smile on her face.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm so sorry to trouble you. My name is Sonke, and I've come to return your bag. You forgot it on the train this morning.
The old lady covered her mouth in surprise.
Oh my goodness! Thank you so much, my dear.
She cried.
I thought I had lost my bag forever.
You're welcome, ma'am,
said Sonke. She handed the bag to the old lady, turned and started to walk away.
Hold on, young lady. Is there anything that I can do for you to thank you for your kindness and honesty?
Asked the old woman. Sonke just smiled.
Well, the only thing I really want right now is a video game so that I can play racing and soccer games online with my friends. But I have to wait until my next birthday.
Is it one of those things that you plug into the TV?
Sonke smiled and nodded.
Wait here. I have something to show you.
The old lady went inside the house and 5 minutes later, she came back with a box.
I hope this is what you're talking about. It belonged to my grandson before he went to university.
It's exactly the same video game that I'm getting for my next birthday,
said Sonke.
Well then, you can have it. My grandson no longer uses it. I would be happy for you to have it.
Sonke could not believe what she was hearing. Not only was the video game almost brand new, but there were also many other games inside the box.
Are you sure, ma'am?
Of course I'm sure. A lovely young lady like yourself who knows how to help old people like me deserves to be helped too, don't you think?
Sonke smiled from ear to ear and nodded.
Thank you so much.
No, Sonke. Thank you for being an honest, kind person.
And so we come to the end of another Nali Bali story time. Today's story was called Sonke's Wish, written by Bubele Reche. Did you know that reading and telling stories to children at home can help them do better at school? If you want free stories to read to your children or for your children to enjoy on their own, visit Nali Bali website www.nalibali.org or Mobi site www.nalibali.mobi. You will find stories in 11 South African languages, as well as tips for reading and sharing stories with your children to grow their potential. Also look out for the bilingual Nali Bali Reading for Enjoyment supplements with great children's stories and activities available in newspapers. Nali Bali. It starts with a story.
Top stories: Gauteng ANC Youth League unhappy with the executive and inclement weather warnings for the Western Cape. I'm Dinoma Down with the news at 2. Good afternoon. Gauteng ANC Youth League has expressed disappointment in the ANC's decision not to include young people in the province's executive. Briefing the media on the formation of the Government of Provincial Unity and the appointment of the Executive Council, ANC Youth League Provincial Chairperson Ntsako Mogobe called on the Premier and the ANC to give young people more responsibilities and positions of influence. Mogobe says the Premier should prioritize youth development the same way he said his office will prioritize crime.
The ANC must explain why there is no young person in the appointed executive from members of the ANC, ignoring the fact that there are capable young people in the legislature under the age of 35 who will then yield to the call for youth development.
The South African Weather Service has issued more warnings of inclement weather across the Western Cape for the next few days. This includes a level 4 warning for disruptive rainfall and level 6 warnings for damaging coastal and interior winds. The City of Cape Town's Disaster Risk Management Centre spokesperson Charlotte Powell says potential impacts include flooding, falling debris and power interruptions. Powell says they are currently investigating reports of wind damage and mudslides overnight.
We advise the public to please take heed of the warnings and to help reduce the potential risk to their properties by clearing out damaged systems, raising the floor level of their structures, digging trenches around the house to divert water away, check that their gutters are clear, that all dead tree branches or any other items that could potentially cause obstructions are cleared. Please also be prepared for sudden gust wind and check for any loose items on your property that would need to be secured to prevent damage or potential injuries.
Rise Mzansi in Gauteng says it also rejects the 200 Rand surcharge for prepaid electricity customers. The monthly fee came into effect on the 1st of this month on top of the 12.7% electricity hike announced by the city of Joburg. The city has also announced tariff increases of 3.8% on property rates, 5.9% for refuse removal, and 7.7% hike in water and sanitation services. Rise Mzansi's Gauteng spokesperson Ayanda Mgede.
As it stands, many residents are battling to survive as a result of the increasing cost of living, compounded by service charges of this nature. A government for the people and by the people should shield and protect people at such desperate times. The poor leadership in the city of Johannesburg is creating pressure for the residents. Rise Mzansi does not support the tariff hikes under the current economic climate and environment punctuated by poor service delivery.
In other news, police in the northwest say a 31-year-old woman and her 26-year-old boyfriend have been arrested for the alleged murder of a 4-year-old boy. Reports reveal that the couple allegedly killed the toddler last year and buried him in a shallow grave in the outskirts of Uitikong. Police say subsequent to the incident, residents of Extension 4 became suspicious when they did not see the child anymore. The police's Amanda Funani says the suspects are expected to appear before the Rustenburg Magistrates Court on Monday, the 8th of July. Funani elaborates.
According to information, the child was last seen by neighbors in July 2023. They started asking questions, but the mother would make up stories. This week, the members of community decided to involve their councillor, and they approached the mother, who allegedly confessed. She allegedly disclosed that she and her boyfriend killed the child and buried him in a shallow grave in the bushes. The councillor and the members of the community handed over the mother and her boyfriend to the police, and they were charged with murder.
Lastly, India's main opposition leader Rahul Gandhi has urged the authorities to offer more financial help to those who lost their relatives in a deadly stampede earlier this week. He made the comments after meeting grieving families in Uttar Pradesh state. The BBC's Anbarasan Ethirajan has the details.
Rahul Gandhi said the families of the deceased had told him police security had been inadequate at the religious event on Tuesday. He also asked the Uttar Pradesh state government to pay compensation as early as possible, as most of the victims are from poor families. More than 120 people, most of them women, were trampled to death as a crowd surged to get the blessings of a spiritual leader, Suraj Pal Singh, known by his followers as Narayan Sakar Hari, as he was leaving the venue.
Recapping the top story this hour, Gauteng ANC Youth League has expressed disappointment in the ANC's decision not to include young people in the province's executive. Headlines at 2:30 for SAFM News. I am Dino Motaung.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide, leading the conversation.
It can never be freezing cold with SABC Sport on board this July.
The 12 Nations battle in the Hollywood Bets COSAFA Cup will reveal the ultimate Southern African champs.
Mzansi's Queens of the Beautiful Game display real passion in the Hollywood Bets Super League.
The Germans are in town as Vivian Wiesbaden tackles the Citizens and Stellies, while FC Augsburg clashes with TS Galaxy FC.
While Sport at 10 gives you a solid reason to stay awake on Wednesday nights.
TKO brings you in-depth analysis in the boxing world.
Top sport journalists table-spoiling conversations on the Jonas Vodcast. Meanwhile, Foot Afrique zooms into continental football.
Countdown to Paris goes downhill towards the Olympic Games Paris 2024, kicking off on 26 July.
NBA Lifestyle, Youth Sport Show Goats Like Us, Final Analysis, EFC 115, and many more. Happy Madiba Month.
Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Congratulations to Tuesday's Powerball Plus jackpot winner who won over 12 million rand after playing through a retailer in Midrand, Gauteng. Play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 50 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Friday, and you could be next. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
The inaugural Standard Bank Business and Commercial Banking Conference is going to be taking place from the 10th of July 2024 to the 12th of July in Cape Town under the theme Africa Unlocked, Unlocking Africa's Growth. And you can tune into the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, and the National Pulse with Ashraf Gara to get insights from the conference.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
It is Zakes Bantwini coming through with Osama. Of course, he's got the big show out in Durban tonight. He's celebrating 20 years in the music industry, and he's got a big extravaganza happening at the Durban International Convention Center. Something in me thought that it was going to be at the Moses Mabhida Stadium initially, but maybe I read wrong. He's doing well. I was worried there before we went to Grahamstown because the ticket sales seem to be going relatively slow, but it seems as though there was a drastic pickup this week with VIP already sold out, and a lot of the other VIP packages are already done and dusted. Is going to be supported by a host of musicians, the likes of Mikasa are coming through, Kulichana, if I'm not mistaken, and a whole bunch of other Senal musicians. As well as Young Stunner and Major League DJs, Stanky DJ. It's a very extensive list, a very long night. It's the precursor to the big weekend of the Durban July, celebrating 20 years of Zakes Bantwini in the music industry. And he hasn't actually done anything of this magnitude in Durban as a Durban homeboy. So that's nice. That's nice. All right, as we get into the second hour of the show, listen, what do you call a kota? What do you call a kota in your neighborhood or in your province or your town? When my producer said I must ask you what you call a kota, I was like, but doesn't anybody just call it a kota? Isn't it just a kota everywhere you go across South Africa? It's known as a kota, with the exception of the folks in Pretoria. Right? Because I know Pretorians have their own vibe. And then I thought, wait, in Cape Town is the Great Gatsby? And then I was rudely told, no, a Great Gatsby is a Great Gatsby. Don't confuse the two. But we've got a connoisseur joining us in studio now, Anje Yamo Nene, who is the owner and founder of Nene's Kasi Style. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for coming through. Much appreciated. So what do you call a kota in your neighborhood?
Sure. So for us, it's always been a kota.
Yeah.
But in certain areas, patlo, skambane, there's so many words. I'm hoping in the future they just call it a nenes.
You just want them to use your sort of brand, a Nenes. I love that. All right, let's talk about Nenes. What inspired the start of Nenes Kasi Lifestyle?
It goes way back. And it's crazy right now when I look at it, and it's funny. I think like a couple of years ago, somebody told me, when you grow up, you're going to be making kotas and chips. I would be like, never. I would be like, oh, this person's disrespecting me. And then because the funniest thing, when we were young, my mom always bought us potato chips, right? I remember when I'd go visit my grandma would be there, and then she'd literally be like, whenever I go visit, she'd be like, I want potato chips. Anje must make them because, at the time we're using a knife and I would peel them so thin. It's so funny, but I started at a young age. And then when I grew up, I started to get a little bit into business. And then I did corporate a bit. So when I decided to leave corporate and do something, it literally just came to me. I was like, okay, I've been doing this. It's something I've always loved. Yeah. The area where I grew up, we didn't have a lot of kotas around there. So I literally, whenever I go visit an area of the kota, I would literally be craving it for like a whole year. And then so when I had the chance of seeing some people that were doing quite great things with kotas, I got inspired again. And then I was like, okay, let me give this a try.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm curious to know, by way of qualification or professional career, which industry were you in before you got consumed by bread and slab chips?
Yeah. Let me just see. Oh, this made my mom cry, eh? This made my mom cry.
Is it going to trigger her again?
No, it won't. No, she's good now. No, it's because I studied economics and econometrics.
Oh.
Yeah. So I went into corporate for a bit. I was working within the logistics space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that probably serves you well, even in the space that you are in as an entrepreneur.
It does, definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely, yes. I would recommend it to anyone. Go to school. It shapes your way of thinking.
Absolutely. Now, Anje, a lot of us during the school holidays, and it's school holidays now. So on the grocery list is always oros, and it's always the big sack of potatoes. Because like you, if you have a healthy relationship with potatoes.
Yeah.
But I do not foresee everybody growing up to now have this innate love for kota specifically that you then go carve out a career for yourself in it. So, I mean, what was it about the allure of this space? You could have gone broadly into culinary, into the culinary world, but you honed in on a singular angle.
Yeah, it's. I really believe kotas are. It's something as a country we can take forward. You know, we can invest in burgers, but burgers are not ours.
Yeah.
It's not something you can take and literally push out into the world. You can look at your pizzas and all that stuff is not ours. Kota is something that we have made and we have created, and I enjoyed it so much. So I actually never felt where when you'd realize that whenever people would speak of a kota, they wouldn't actually give it enough appreciation. It would sort of be like that thing of like, ish, so, but I wanted to create something where I'm like, I've enjoyed kotas like since I was young, literally, and for me, the opportunity to have a kota was like, I don't care what else is around, I want to have this kota. So when I got the chance, I wanted the kota to get that image.
Yes.
Where it's not about, I'm going to get a kota because I don't have enough money. But I'm getting a kota because I want a kota. And so creating a kota which is going to be able to compete with some of the biggest food brands and fast food giants.
So you basically have elevated the kota's stature.
We try. We try.
Between today and yesterday, I'm having the most interesting conversations with South African professionals who've sort of veered off into the culinary world. Yesterday, we met an entrepreneur who's presenting acha to the global market, but like you, elevating the presentation and packaging and stature of acha, so that everybody in the world can find themselves in it. And here you are doing the same thing with essentially a kota.
Yeah. I actually love what they are doing. It means like when we grow beyond the country, we'll be able to, we have the acha there. There's someone's already got the acha. We'll link up in front.
I'm here for you. Now, are you taking this Nene's Kasi style? Is it from the business module, right? Because we're not just selling kotas here. We're creating a lifestyle environment, restauranting kind of space, right? How is that sort of establishing that and honing that in, whether you're crafting menus and crafting your kota menus, or even the environment and the ambiance that goes with it? Because it requires in itself some kind of out-of-the-box thinking, but that also still resonates with South Africans.
Yes. No, it's quite difficult. It's one of the trickiest things to get right. But I think the most important thing is loving the customer, right? The moment you love the customer and you also understand that you yourself are the customer, it allows you to break through many things, because now you're always able to put yourself and say, okay, I think they need this now. I think, okay, I'm realizing certain things about them that, okay, we need this sort of energy. And also loving what you're doing, because I really do want to create something amazing. I really think the way they created a kota back in Kasi, where it comes from, it's amazing, the energy you'd get there. So trying to bring that this side, trying to create a menu that's going to fit into the market that we are in.
Yeah.
It's a constant struggle, but we love your customers, be the customer, and I think that's the only thing I can say.
Right.
Yeah.
We're still asking you, by the way. I'm seeing just some of your voice notes trickling in as to what you call a kota in your neighborhood, and what is your favorite kotas? Like, what concoction do you put in it? Because I know there are some establishments. Can I just disclose? I've never had a kota. I speak from a place of non-experience. I know. I've never had a kota. Like, I'm not even lying.
You're going to have it for the first time today.
Never had a kota. So I know that there are some establishments where they have their standard concoction of what goes into the kota, and the customer is not allowed to alter, chop and change. And people go there because of that. And then there are some places where you can have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, depending on your taste palette that day. And that speaks to quite the unique personalized approach also to just food from a South African sense. For you guys, where are we? A little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both because we do have a structured menu.
Yeah.
But we also do allow, if somebody comes in, they're like, okay, can I please have this as an extra? We do allow for that. But we do have a structure. We've created a structure where we believe, because, with most customers, they don't want the hassle of, especially when the menu is big, they get confused.
Yes.
So we do try and structure a menu in such a way that they are able to enjoy, and we're able to accommodate them in structuring that menu, but we still give them room to be able to add.
Hi, it's interesting. 0614104107 is our WhatsApp line asking you, what do you call a kota in your hood? And we'd love to know, actually. In fact, let's go to WhatsApp and just have a sneak peek of what you call kotas in your neighborhood, and what is your favorite mix and concoctions that go into the kotas. Kono white liver, kono polony, slab chips. Yonke into nje phakathi in the kotas. I'd love to know what's your favorite. Let's go to WhatsApp.
Let's have the conversation. WhatsApp voice notes on 0614 104 107.
In Mossel Bay, we call it a bunny chow. In Mossel Bay, we call it a bunny chow and also a kota. Mark all the way from Mossel Bay.
Hi, Bridget. This is Lisedi in Pretoria. In Pretoria, we call it spatlo. Ke spatlo.
This is Bridget. Ke tebote mamuze vedela magatle in Limpopo. Rena mo Limpopo, we call it sepatlo. So we call it sepatlo. But I've also lived in the northwestern Mahikeng rather. So they also call it sepatlo, like sepatlo. Yeah, sepatlo in Setswana. In Mafikeng, they call it sepatlo. And then here in Limpopo, you call it sepatlo. Sepatlo. Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Bridget. This is Naledi from Welcome Tabong. And we call a kota, it's called skambani.
Hey, Bridge and the Full Circle team. Very interesting topic. In my hood, we call it ikota still, right? But I've also heard of many other names, Bomatuslai, and like you said, in Pitori, Spatlo ke Spatlo.
I mean, come on. Mossel Bay, I want to debate there. I want to debate about it being a bunny chow. I'm a Durban girl. A bunny chow is something completely different. Like a bunny chow, mutton curry, lamb curry inside. That's not a kota. That's just a bunny chow. Unless maybe they're doing something different in Mossel Bay with like the kotas and the bunny chows, and they've kind of found a way of putting them together.
No, but I think it's because most people are so confused in terms of, I know even us, when some people come to the shop and then they're like, what do you guys sell? Or like kota. And then they're like, and then it's like, bunny chow. It's like, bunny chow.
Oh, so you are confusing the people.
No, it's not. Because when we say bunny chow now that they sort of, yeah.
Oh, no ways. Listen, all of Durban's population just went, no. These are completely different things. You're going to start a war. In fact, we have a WhatsApp. Someone wanted to know, what is a kota? We take for granted that everybody knows what is a kota, but some people actually don't know what is a kota.
No, you'd be surprised. Actually, once you leave Gauteng, a kota is only starting to become known in other provinces recently.
Oh, really?
Yes. Like KZN, for example, kotas, it's not a thing. Yeah, it's only people are only trying to expand into certain areas.
Yeah.
When you're in Gauteng, you literally think a kota is like the biggest thing everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's literally only starting to expand into other provinces recently.
Very interesting. I mean, I can believe that about Durban, KZN, because we are bunny chow people, given, we've got the largest Indian population outside of India. And we are very much into our Indian food. And so we just know bunny chow. Give us lamb curry, mutton curry. This is what veggie bunny chow. This is what we know. Very interesting. So then how do we, because, wait a minute, there's a Kota National Day, as I was about to say this. If we're about to claim it as South Africans, I'm pretty sure there's a Kota National Day. We do a lot of national days here on the show. And I think I've come across a Kota National Day. We need a Kota National Day.
We do need it. We definitely need it.
We do.
Yeah, if we have Friday, we need a Kota Day.
Is there an ingredient that needs to be in a kota for it to be considered a kota?
That is probably the biggest war going on right now.
Really?
Yes, the biggest war. Because I always say to have a kota, you need to have the best, softest quality bread, and then you're going to have the high quality potato chips put in there.
Okay.
But like some people that like, if there's no acha,
it's not a kota.
Not a kota, you know?
Yes.
You know, some people are like, which was the weirdest one? If there's no egg, it's not a kota. I'm like, no ways, egg.
That's weird. Because I would think that it would be, obviously the bread is the base to put the kota in. So I would think bread, and then I would think polony, I would think acha, slab chips, and Russian. And this is based on what I just hear people
You're
talking.
putting us in trouble with the polony because we don't have it. You're putting us in trouble.
You don't do
We don't do polony.
Oh, because you're elevating your kota. I forget. You did say you're elevating your kota. Okay, so in general, what are in your kotas? In general,
So
as the base.
So it's gonna be your chips. It's gonna be your high quality bread.
Mhm.
It's gonna be, we're gonna have our secret sauces.
Yes.
And then we're gonna have cheese. We really do cheese is like a standard.
Okay.
In there.
Nifagi cheddar or gouda?
Cheddar. And then it's gonna be the mix of meats. With your king rib, with your ribs, your Russians, your bacons, your chicken Russians, your pork Russians, burgers, whatever.
This is the kota that went to private school. This kota went to Midlands and KZN. It went to St. Michael's and St. John's. It's definitely so premium. He said selection of meats, not just selection of meats. This is how you know that it's a high class kota. So just as we wrap it up, Anya, where are people going for Nenes? Where do we find you?
So you. I always say the best place to go is to go on our pages, Instagram and TikTok.
Okay.
Nenes.kasistyle, NENES, Kasistyle, KASISTYLE. So, and then when you get there, you'll be able to see all of the locations and also the cell phone numbers for each shop. But where you can currently get us is Oakland Park by Campus Square. You can get us in Hatfield by Hatfield Plaza. You can get us in Four Ways, close to the mall. You can get us by Randburg, by Randburg Square.
Okay.
You can find us, we've got 2 locations in Midrand. One next to a school called Eduvos and another one by Noordwijk. And then next week we're going to be opening in Kempton Park by Kempton Square.
Listen, he's got the whole of North Joburg covered. That's for sure. No wonder it's a selection of meats. On that note, thank you so much for coming in studio. And Musa's coming through with the headlines. It's just gone 2:30.
For the headlines at 2:30, I'm Dineo Motaung. Good afternoon. The City of Cape Town authorities say 113 people at Tafelsig in Mitchells Plain have been affected by strong wind gusts overnight. In other news, Gauteng ANC Youth League has expressed disappointment in the ANC's decision not to include young people in the province's executive. And eThekwini Metro Police spokesperson Boy Zungu says roads around the Greyville Racecourse in Durban will be closed from midnight tonight until early evening tomorrow for the Hollywood Bats Durban July. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Arts, culture, and robust conversations with Bridget Masinga.
This is Africa izindaba zokufa kwabo ndiyabuza ingabuphi na thela umoya simakade sezulu sobheka bina singabheki kuwe simakade uthi thina sitshone phina asingatshoni kuwe mdali thina sobheka bina singabheki kuwe mdali sotshona phina singatshoni kuwe mdali thina sobheka bina singabheki kuwe mdali sotshona phina singatshoni kuwe mdali sithi kwanele ke simaka how to smell simaka sicela usilwele simakade ngoba amandla ngawakho nobungwalisa boba nobulumko bobakho nathi mdali singabakho nathi mdali singabakho amen 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 amen
Film Festival earlier on in the year, and I mean you don't have to put them on.
Okay.
And
from my professional look.
no. And always you just you know this. You've spent how many years on stages, you know, behind mics.
But I'd love to hear you say
and you know, gas me out, Bridget.
Please do it.
I mean, you are just, words fail me because you are just such an exquisite performer. And the energy that you bring to any stage, whether as a solo artist or whether in, you know, the chapters with the soil, there's just this energy and you can feel it reverberate from all the way from your toes, like every muscle and every muscle in your body. And it just expels through these incredibly God-given vocals and you just magic. Honestly,
Bridget.
You are just magic. How are you, Buhle Bendal?
Sanbonani Kaya, SAFM. I feel like my career started here also.
Did it?
On this radio station, yes.
Tell me more. I want to know more.
So during this time, I think it's like a full circle. During this time, the gents, I was highly pregnant, 2010. So I was at home. The gents went to the arts festival.
Yes.
And then Karabo Khuleng interviewed them after they performed there, and Babusi Postolo called online to offer the Soil a recording deal.
Oh.
And the rest was history.
The rest was history.
Yes.
What? Talk
Yes.
about a full circle
Yes.
moment.
Full circle.
And I didn't even catch it for the gram. At least we live streaming, so we caught it on tape.
Yes.
We are live streaming at the
Yes.
show. Oh, what a wow. And I'll up you one full circle moment. Then I didn't know this story about SAFM.
Yes.
Then I've known Sipho Sithole for many, many years when he was still A&R at Gallo.
Yes.
At Gallo.
Yes.
And then he calls me up with Sis Velile the one time, and I was doing a magazine show for Mnet, and he goes, I would like you guys to interview this like dynamic trio. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting. My producers were going to talk to this new dynamic trio. You all hadn't released an album. You were getting ready for it. And you guys were performing at the Mandela on the Square Theatre. The three of you. And you all gave us an interview and then a little private situation. You know, most magazine shows, we have to see what you guys are about. And we were the first TV interview that you guys did.
Listen.
Full circle.
Full circle.
And how much you've grown as an artist and as a person over those years. I mean, it was 18 years with The Soil just alone.
I feel so old. Yes, see, I feel
baby.
so old. And I'm such a baby. Okay, firstly, I am breathing. I am grateful. You asked me how I was. Yes, we are breathing and we are grateful for life. 18 years, wow. Yes, I think I'm going through the evolutions of my life, hey, and I'm honored to be present in all of them. And I'm grateful to be present and seeing them and allowing them to evolve with me as I learn, as I go. And 18 years later, I still have a long way to go within understanding my space as a woman, my space as a storyteller within the music business as well. So it's been quite a journey.
Yeah, it really has. I want to come back. I want to ask you, what does it mean when you say you're going through the evolutions of your life? But we're going to take a quick pause. Let's take a quick ad break and then we'll come back on the other side.
The reality is that 90% of South Africans don't save enough for retirement. This National Savings Month, why not be part of the 10% who do? Choose an interest rate of up to 12.6% after 60 months with a Nedbank Electronic Optimum Plus account. Anyone over 55 can open theirs via the Nedbank Money app in less than 2 minutes. Join the bank that's best for your savings goals. See money differently. Nedbank. We're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Congratulations to Tuesday's Powerball Plus jackpot winner who won over 12 million rand after playing through a retailer in Midrand, Gauteng. Play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 50 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Friday, and you could be next. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
Banyana Bus Style target 3 points to continue enjoying the good life on the summit. But Northern Cape ladies can't wait to demonstrate why happiness is their middle name. This is the Hollywood Bet Super League. Catch the Mzansi Queens of the beautiful game, Mamelodi Sundowns Ladies FC versus Richmond United Ladies FC on Saturday, 6 July at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC1 and SABC radio stations. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. #We love it here. Brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Arts, culture, and robust conversations with Bridget Masinga.
We are in conversation this afternoon. You know, Fridays is about fun, fabulous conversations with friends of the show with Bridget Masinga. I never say your surname because I feel as though you're a one-name artist, Masinga.
Yes.
Don't you feel like a one-name artist?
And I feel like my surname is too short.
It's
and my
very
name
short
is like
for your
this
middle-
long. So Bridget Masinga is fine, Mafethu, please.
Actually.
Bridget Masinga is perfect.
It's very long for that very
And my
short
name is
Masinga.
actually Bridget Masinga kaNkulunkulu.
Oh, what a long
According
name.
to my late grandmother, yes.
I love it though.
Siyabonga.
Wonderful name. So you say that you are going through the evolutions of life and you're allowing that. What does that mean?
You know, I was talking to someone, Izolo, because I feel like I was not aware that I transformed so many times, you know, even within the soil. There were breaks taken in between, you know. I feel like I'm called for different reasons, and as I grow older, as I answer to those calls, I evolve somehow. Parts of me grow taller and parts of me stretch wider, and one thing I appreciate a lot also about these different evolutions, I'm learning that there are a lot of women that live in me, and every woman in me deserves a space, in my journey, in my walk, in my messaging. So I think those evolutions play a big role for each and every woman that lives in me. Yeah.
Now, do these women all live in you at the same time?
Sometimes, girl, they all just jump out. I'm like, okay, guys, come down. We can't be all of you at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's beautiful. It's beautiful to be fully myself. Especially living in the times of social media where you're always side-eyed for doing things outside of what social media knows of you. But I always have that excuse to say, guys, mina I don't walk alone. I even made a joke yesterday and said I even have 4 accounts on Instagram to cater for these women, So I feel it's important to be aware of your fullness. And I think I'm learning that. And it's a beautiful learning space.
I love that. And I love the sort of the journey around it all as well, because I think it's going to mean amazing things for us as she continues to produce music. Let me ask you about, and we'll get on to the next chapter, because you obviously, you flying solo now.
Yes.
Last year, you officially bid farewell to the group.
Yeah.
But after 18 years, almost 2 decades together, you guys were more than just a group.
We were married, bruh.
Really married. And what is that like, taking that decision to say, shoo, I feel like I want to stand in the light of all of me and these women by myself?
Yeah. I don't think it was my decision to take. Just like it wasn't my decision to join the Soil and to start a group with them. Everything that has to do with me, I bump into these things and I get some sort of comfort and then I stay, And I got to learn that it was a season that I had to fulfill within the Soil.
Yeah.
And when the time ran out, I could feel it physically, I could feel it spiritually and emotionally. And then ngaba nenkani because I'm off the physical, But I was starting to feel that, okay, my time here is up, and it's okay to run this race and finish it and on to the next race. So, yeah, it had to be 18 years, I think.
Couldn't wait for 20. Couldn't make it a solid number. You were like, I'm done. Are you naturally, because you say, and obviously because Buhle, if you follow her journey, her personal life, as she lets us in, within parameters and boundaries on social media, people know that you are a healer, you are many women and you've been on many journeys. And that comes with a sense of having to let go of the known for the unknown. But also with what you've just said, it sounds like there's a bit of a stubborn streak.
Yes.
In the letting go.
Kakulu. I think it's that stubborn other woman. Also.
Okay. But you eventually make one with the decisions, and eventually you find the sort of the peace and the contentment to move to the next chapter.
Yeah.
And what's that like? Now you're on your own. Bati, when you are in a group or part of an ensemble, you look to the left, you look to the right, there are people.
You're gathered, yeah.
Yeah.
Whew. I also feel like I left a long time ago, but I just stayed also. And now I feel like there's a bigger message and a very personal message that I need to send out.
Yeah.
And a personal assignment. Being a woman, being a mom, being a daughter, being a queer being in the space of this industry, I have a different message to send. And I'm 36 this year, and I have a 13-year-old daughter, and I'm experiencing things that You know. So it's important to also tell that story, you know, and I feel even the conversations I get to have with my daughter also spark a different buhle that has to tell a different message. So it's been, it's been life-changing for me and life-shifting and I appreciate every shift, and not every shift is a good shift.
Yes.
You know, sometimes it's very tight and uncomfortable, but it's a shift with experiencing, so that I get to create more sensible music to accommodate for that shift. Yabo. So gunzulu, and I'm willing to dive.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, in those shifting moments, are there moments of fear? Moments of fear and angst? Because there's a lot that you've just mentioned. You've sort of what's the word? All the layers that have come together and that have shed for just this moment.
I think artist and fear go together.
Yeah.
You know, because you have these voices in your head, you have these images in your mind, and you have these extra voices talking, and you have these expectations of you as an artist, as a creative. Of course, you're going to be scared to live outside your head, you know, because in your head, you are able to sit there and not be judged and take a break, you know, to figure it out. And then when you have to actually put it into life, there is that fear, there is that self-doubt, there's a lot of it. And I think it's important to try and create those silent moments to come back. This is why it's important uge ekhaya. Noma abazali bangasekho, just ukuyonyathela ekhaya ukuthi uzikhumbuze ukuthi okay kula ngibuya khona la, you know. So I think also that helps with that doubt and fear and that chutzpah to do it one more time. I think for me, fear will. I want to stay scared.
Yeah,
I don't want not to fear anything.
I want to ask you this because we spoke about it, and we're going to come and talk about the music now before we wrap it up. But you're a parent to a 13-year-old, and we were asking earlier this week. What was the one thing you wished somebody could have told you? Actually, I want to lapha parenthood.
My darling,
yes.
It's a lot I got. I think someone should have warned me to say, you are going to be alone doing it. You are going to have a human being, my mom likes saying human being, looking at you for answers. But you are going to stress about school fees. Something that your parents always tried covering it up. Like, I feel like Tina Skuliswe in a space where a lot was hidden from us, you know, and a lot was shielded to protect us. But now the world that we find ourselves in, the 2Ks, they want to strip you naked and be like, Mom, are you feeling scared? Right. Mom, do you want to cry? Cry, Mom. Like, no, you know. So, and Tina, we were not that open and that honest with our parents. So I wish, and my child is of a different breed, Kesana, and Maz, we are going to planet, you know. The conversations we have, I sometimes think, okay, Chomi, I see, because now I just got here, you know. This is my first time also, you know. So, but I think it's important to be present also in those spaces and be okay with saying, Gumtana kwangazi. And be okay to say, I'm hurt, I'm scared, I don't know what I'm doing. So that now Babazo should, oh, shame, girl, come, let me give you a hug. You know?
One day she'll listen back to this interview, I tell you. We are in conversation with Buhle Mendalo. She is, of course, philanthropist, singer-songwriter, healer, and all kinds of phenomenal woman. And you're working on a project right now, currently. Oh, you're so excited. Tell us about the project. Because you released last year, right?
No, 4 years ago, 2020. that's the thing. People only woke up to it only last year, and I've been here, guys.
We had COVID,
and it came out during COVID.
You can't blame us. Why are you releasing music in COVID?
But we made it, guys. Silapa ngoku. So my first album is called Tosi.
Yes.
I think it has like 12 tracks. I conceptualized just a compilation of prayers. Because also during that time we just needed that space, you know. I got angry at God. I got angry at the system. I got a chance to vocalize my activism as a woman in society, as a mom, you know. I also vocalized edlozini to say, okay, angiyazi manje leni ngibonisa yona, so guide me through. And I feel like I opened a space for people who are in need or seeking the same kind of healing and understanding of the spiritual world. Not to say I know it all, but let's learn together. Let's go together, you know. And then now I am working on hele. So uXhosa uhamba no hele mos. Makube Xhosa kube hele.
Okay, you know most my Zulu.
Yes, I'm gonna come there. Thank you very much to Sampra Development Fund for assisting us in creating this album. So uXhosa ke nasesizulwini xos mawuzoshibali lakho uthi xos ngisho sukela bathi esizulwini esixhoseni ukuthi xos ngantsomi. So I wanted to start intsomi yami. Right, it's also dual. It also plays a role. Xa kugqitywa unqulwa mhlambe ukuthandaza ngokwesintu sithi makube Xhosa, kube njani kube hele, makukhanye konke lokho esikucelile makwenzeke makube njalo. So you cannot have uXhosa ongahambi no hele. So my upcoming album is called Hele. Hele is, I don't even recognize myself.
Oh, really?
I feel Hele is a space because now I was praying there and I was crying a lot. Now I'm breathing through my prayers and trying to understand the women in me as well. And I am exploring my musicianship. I'm playing. I am free because I'm an independent artist as well.
Yeah.
I'm exploring so many things and so many sounds and things that I always dreamt of when I was younger. I'm doing them now. And I'm gonna be judged for a lot of things in this album. But hey, I'm an artist and I'm allowed to do this.
Yes.
So it's a 10-track album. I don't want to say when it's gonna be released because we're still working on it.
Okay.
But I am blown away myself, and this is not me. I'm just like, who's this girl? You know? Where did she come from? And I'm hoping it will be embraced just like Xhosa has been embraced.
And listen, I'm sure it shall be.
Yes.
It sounds like an incredible journey. And I think no matter what it evolves into, because artistry is about that, you just bringing us along on your journey of evolution and we get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it's either you carry on the train with her or you get off and you catch her at the next stop. But the train keeps moving.
Yes.
Okay, I've literally run out of time. But
I need hello, who's the manager here? I need an hour, please.
But I gotta ask you this because I ask all my creative friends who come through on a Friday, when did you know? When did you know that you were famous? Mama, I made it. What was that moment?
When I took my child to the clinic, I remember it was Dobsonville. I was walking even from Dobsonville Shopping Center to Tshepo Themba Hospital. Bengimtetile umntanami. Kanti masiphume ekliniki sohlangana abantwana besikolo abase Pace. I think the school is called Pace. My darling, imall be messy. I'm like, what is happening? I'm just taking my child to the clinic. Give me a chance. And I'm like, guys, umntanami uyagula. But no, don't worry, sizomkuka. Someone took my child to Amkuko. I started taking pictures with these kids. I'm like, what is happening? And then I went home and I sat down and I'm like, Ma, I think it's happening. I think that's when I realized. Another one was when I was in a taxi. I took a while to get myself a car because I wanted to remain myself.
The stubbornness.
Yes. Until I was in front of the back seat la phambili. And then I'm sitting there, and then one lady just opened her phone and was like, Nazinko. I was like, no! She played the whole album, Cabanga, from Protea Lane to Bree Street. That is like a 30-minute drive. During traffic, I'm like, okay.
Wangena kodwa wa harmonize what's in live vocal?
No.
You failed the vibes test.
Yeah. Another one, and text it. Okay, this is the last one. My child still. The same thing happened. Someone started playing Joy in the taxi. My child started singing along.
The child is about the vibes test. I'm that. We've run out of time, but Hele's in the middle of recording. You see, you weren't listening. The voices that speak to me in my ears. As we're finishing off with this song. Is it Buya Azanya?
Yes, please.
Give me a 10-seconder. With context.
What's happening right this moment in this country is Buya Azania.
Nazog. That is how we wrap it up today with Butle Bendalo. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. Have an incredible weekend. If you're going out to the big weekend, be sure to be safe and enjoy yourselves. Inshallah, God willing, we do it again.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide, leading the conversation.
Top story, strong winds wreak havoc in Cape Town and motorists warned of Durban July road closures. With the news, I am Dino Mutaung. Good afternoon. City of Cape Town authorities say 113 people at Duffelsig in Mitchell's Plain have been affected by strong wind gusts overnight. The Weather Service earlier issued a level 4 warning for disruptive rainfall and level 6 warnings for damaging coastal and interior winds. Disaster Risk Management spokesperson Charlotte Powell.
The city's Roads and Informal Settlements Management Department are also conducting assessments in informal settlements in Dunoon, Strand, Khayelitsha, Belgravia, Overcome Heights and Guguletu, following reports of flooding. In Solaris Pass Village, an assessment found that 80 informal structures have been impacted by the rainfall overnight. The city's humanitarian relief partners have been activated to provide soft relief in the different areas. The Disaster Operations Centre has also received reports of flooding of formal structures in Sea Point, Sea Wings and Masipumalele.
In other news, Gauteng ANC Youth League has expressed disappointment in the ANC's decision not to include young people in the province's executive. Briefing the media on the formation of the Government of Provincial Unity and the appointment of the Executive Council, ANC Youth League Provincial Chairperson Ntsako Morobe called on the Premier and the ANC to give young people more responsibilities and positions of influence. Morobe says the Premier should prioritize youth development the same way he said his office will prioritize crime.
The ANC must explain why there is no young